If you're a hater watching this video, make sure you give it a thumbs down and keep it moving. Thank you so much for being here. Now goodbye. Now that that's over with, we can have an actual conversation today. We have a moment in which it was believed Winter was targeted during a recent appearance over the JK dating rumors. We also have JK believed to be under a lot of stress and crying out to please stop. And then we have information on who might be the wealthiest in the BTS group. So hey Dumplings, this is Dave Disci. Let's get into it. We need to talk about BTS and some of their financial information. Now, you might, of course, be wondering how any of this is any of our business, but this is something that legally needs to be disclosed since it involves the label. So bear with me. I'll explain everything and I'll talk about why this is important. Recently, it was blasted all over the news and all over several huge news sites who the wealthiest member of the group is. A lot of the wealth that they are talking about is wealth that's coming from their investments in their label's stock. Apparently, Suga, Jimin, V, and JK have around 15 million, a little bit less than that, all invested into the stock of the label. When I initially heard this, I was like, okay, why do we need to know this? And then I was thinking, well, maybe this was a press release that was done by the label in hopes to get investors to see the company in a better light. For example, if even after all of this legal drama and all the members are still investing this much of their own money into the label, then this would imply that they believe something big is going to happen. They're going to make a lot of that money back, or just overall that investing in the label might not be a bad idea, because it's one thing to say that the label is in a good position. It's another thing to put 15 million of your own money into the label. That's quite literally putting your money where your mouth is. However, that's not the complete truth, or maybe even the truth at all. The South Korean Financial Service Commissions, as well as the Korean Exchange, required by law that labels have to disclose which investors hold 5% or more of the stock for that particular stock or company, or they have to disclose who is the top shareholders of the company. It's one or the other, but regardless, it of course was then disclosed. And then the rest of the BTS members have anywhere between, I think, less than 14 million to closer to 11 million invested in the label. Now, people are using this to say that the ones who have more money in the label are, of course, the richest. And I definitely have to disagree, because you don't know what other things the other members have stocks in, nor do we know what they're doing with that money that they took out, because each of them were given the same amount to start. So what do they do with it afterwards? Of course, their decision to do that. Some of them might take some of that money out and invest it in other businesses. Some might take it out to put it into other stocks, and of course that would be a smart financial decision to do. The members that might not have as much in the stock might be comfortable with having their money somewhere else and just be totally okay with having that money there versus just in the label. It was rumored, and I'm going to emphasize a rumor here, that J-Hope had an apartment building that he likely rented out to people. So of course, with that said, he might have taken out some of that stock money to buy those apartment complexes. There's of course many ways he could go about taking out the money, and maybe he chose to take it out of the stock market. I personally would not have chosen to withdraw that money if I was in his position due to the huge tax liability, but I'm assuming he got financial advice to do that. But again, those are just rumors, and do what you will with that. There's been a general conversation with JK and potentially him not being well. Many people are concerned over his physical safety as well as his mental health. There's a show currently going around called Idol Eye, and I believe it's causing people to be very upset. The show follows a lawyer who is taking a case of a K-pop idol who is accused of killing someone. And essentially the lawyer digs and finds crazy fans that the K-pop idol has. The lawyer finds just general troubling mental health issues that the K-pop idol has from being in the spotlight. People have been very concerned because they're connecting this to JK and saying that he's obviously feeling the same things because he has very obsessive fans and probably isn't doing well mentally, and or is probably having mental breakdowns all the time, just like the K-pop idols in the show. It's one of my annoyances, if you will, when people take situations that aren't real and try to apply it to situations that are. Of course, we obviously know that JK does have his privacy invaded all the time, and it's really uncomfortable, but this is not the same situation. That's what's happening in the show that is dramatized for the sake of entertainment. It's called a K-drama for a reason. It's supposed to be dramatic and it's fiction. Now, obviously, JK has some of the best security that he could possibly have, and of course, that doesn't mean that nothing bad couldn't happen, but it definitely means that there's less of a chance than in a TV show. JK has remedied all the situations in which a fan did come to his apartment and decide to do something crazy and he got them arrested. JK has had mental breakdowns before, and we've seen it in the behind-the-scenes content, but interestingly enough, it's never about the fame part, simply him breaking down because he felt like he didn't perform at the level that he should have. The pressure that the boys feel and the part that makes them break down typically is them feeling like they cannot be the best at their craft. And we have yet to see them physically break down or get angry over fan interactions. And there are celebrities who make it very evident that it's been really tough fame-wise. So they could show that, but they don't. And I'm not saying that it's not bad for them. I'm just saying that it's probably something they don't care as much as other people do. Like perhaps they care obviously the amount that they should care about it, but they're not breaking down over it or losing sleep over it because they probably have security, as I said, and all the resources available for them to keep themselves safe. There's also a difference in the show where the K-pop idol is being accused of murder, which of course adds to the tension and of course makes the situation that much more dramatic and worse and could trigger panic attacks. I mean, I would get a panic attack too if I was accused of murder. And here's the thing that people don't want to admit, and I will just straight up say it, BTS members obviously want to be famous. None of them, and I mean not a single one of them, probably needs to still be working. Just based on their stocks, they could have the option to never work again. If they wanted to withdraw that money or borrow against that money from the bank and open other businesses and do things, they literally would never have to do music again and never have to be famous again. They 100% have that choice. And while they'll always be known as a celebrity and they'll always be recognized, there are still so many celebrities that leave Hollywood and then at one point are eventually able to live somewhat of normal life. I could probably name like 10 celebrities that I've known that were in huge bands like global tours, sold out stadiums and that sort of stuff, and just decided to leave the spotlight and move to an island and are now living completely normal lives with their kids and their significant others. They could do that. BTS could do that, but they're choosing to do music because they still want to make art. They still want to be famous. They still want everything that comes with being an artist. That is my opinion. Obviously, if I'm wrong about that, I will eat my words. But that's just how I feel, and I believe they still want to win a Grammy. I believe there's so much that they still want to achieve. And I mean, no one in this day and age really has to be a musician or has to be famous if they don't want to. It is really now more than ever a choice because you have to be really intentional about your strategy if you want to be famous and continue to be famous. There are so many people that can just be famous for posting something. Celebrities aren't even just competing with other celebrities now for fame. They have to compete with influencers and anyone who can post on social media. Recently, Winter was with her group at SBS Gala, and I think this was an award show and they were all on the red carpet. Some people noticed that when Winter's appearance on the carpet was made, there was significantly less cheering. Very sparse cheering is what I've heard being said. And of course, many people believe this is due to the dating rumors now, and people are attacking her online far beyond just, I guess, not cheering for her. It's important to note that I can't actually find the official video in which her cheers were sparse, as they said. This was either to keep the speculation alive because it wasn't sparse, or they just wanted to get rid of all of that content and make it seem like it was. And of course, I'm talking about the fans here. Or it was sparse, and that's why a lot of the clips that I did see online of them on the red carpet, I can't hear the audio of. They'll overlay music on top. So I have no idea which one it is. People are demanding that Winter speak up about the dating rumors, and it's interesting because I'm seeing less and less discourse or demanding with JK. I think most people have realized or assumed that he probably wouldn't address it, and now they're trying to bully Winter to get her to address it because they just have to know, right? This is the part that I don't understand. People have wrapped this into this idea of if she does not address it, then she's lying or being dishonest with her fans, which of course I agree would be something that is bad, but this is what I'm talking about when I say people like to wrap it into something when that's not actually how they feel. They just are using this because this actually makes the situation seem more severe. They cannot genuinely, in their heart of hearts, really believe that she's being dishonest by not addressing it. If both of them truthfully, JK and Winter, were seeing each other, but they have not made anything official yet, then there's nothing to address because they don't even know what their relationship status is yet. That is not something that just exists within K-pop idols. This is something likely if people were to go outside and make friends, they would notice that their friends have a similar situation as well, where they just can't address things right off the bat because they don't even know the answer to it yet. And that's not their friends being dishonest, their friends are just not ready to say it yet. And of course, that's not even considering the fact that if they were genuinely not dating, there's really nothing to address there. And the bottom line is, even if Winter came out and truthfully said that they were not in a relationship together, it's not like that's going to stop the rumors altogether. There could be so many people who are going to say she's still being dishonest and now straight up lying because there's quote evidence that they are together. Like, what is she supposed to do? Go one by one and disprove every single piece of evidence that was made? Like, she genuinely has no time to do that. And that probably wouldn't even solve the problem. People would probably come up with new pieces of evidence and then say, address this one too. What about this one? I don't understand how people don't see that there's really nothing for her to do, nor is there anything she can do at this point except not address it. That's literally the only option she has left. Let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure you check out Patreon. I'll leave a link at the top of the description. Thank you so much for this lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.